The UFC's welterweight division has kind of been in a strange place recently. Stuck between both dominance and stagnation, filled with talent but starved for excitement. But that all might change during UFC 315. Because standing across from the champion, Belal Muhammad, is a cold-blooded finisher from Perth, Australia, named Della Maddalena. A man who doesn't just win his fights, he ends them. Now, look, Belal Muhammad's our champion. He's earned it. He's gritty, relentless, as well as a technician, but just beneath that pressure-heavy, grind-you-out style lies a skill set that someone like Della Maddalena can crack wide open. This isn't just a striker versus grappler matchup, but a war of tempo, chaos, as well as control. And if anyone can disrupt Belal Muhammad's rhythm and bring back that violent energy that this division desperately needs, it's Della Maddalena. So, now with that being said, let's break down why this fight might be a lot closer than what people are giving it credit for, and why Della Maddalena can exploit a lot of Belal Muhammad's strengths, and why by Saturday night, we might be looking at a new king sitting upon the throne of the 170-pound division. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share so you can help me reach 3,000 subscribers by May. I'll deeply appreciate you. And make sure you join the official UFC Discord, link in the description. Alright, so look, I believe that going into this Saturday night's main event, this man, Della Maddalena, will be knocking out Belal Muhammad during UFC 315. And look, this ain't just gonna be a win. He actually might save the entire welterweight division in the process. Let's talk about why. And so you see, at the core of Della Maddalena's game, he's got this unique brand of pressure striking, controlled chaos, as well as violent composure that, makes him such an elite finisher through and through. And in every exchange, every scramble, and in every trade within the pocket, he will be looking to end the fight in every single instance. And, that's the thing. What makes Della Maddalena so dangerous isn't just his boxing, even though it is his bread and butter and what makes him so elite, but it's his ability to weaponize discomfort. He doesn't need to dominate every round. All he needs is that single window, and once he finds it, he's gonna take it. And that's what makes him so dangerous for someone like Belal Muhammad going into the main event for UFC 315. Now then again, don't get it twisted, because Belal Muhammad deserves all of his respect. I mean, he is the undisputed champion of the division for a reason, and, has gotten here through things like his sheer grit, his hard work, as well as his discipline. I mean, dog, his forward pressure, his cardio, as well as his decently high fight IQ really just breaks guys down. And you see, the thing about him is that he doesn't just win his fights, he does it by doing things like, ruining your rhythm, drowning your confidence, and turning high-level strikers into hesitant, second-guessing versions of themselves. But with all that being said, his success, especially in his last two fights, kinda does tell a specific story, one that might not apply to a guy like Della Maddalena. And that's kinda why I believe that Belal Muhammad's last two performances against both Leon Scott and a compromised Gilbert Burns has kind of distorted the perception of the masses. I mean, Leon Scott, for all of his striking expertise or whatnot, despises those ugly, gritty fights. I mean, he does prefer the controlled, the, clean technique and the structured exchanges. That's why when Belal Muhammad forced on the chaos, Leon Scott Scissorhands Edwards folded and crumbled. And as for Gilbert Durinho, while I will give Belal Muhammad his credit for, doing the damage that caused it, Gilbert Burns was injured early and couldn't necessarily use his full toolkit and had to be on the defensive the entire fight. But for Della Maddalena, he quite literally lives for the chaos. I mean, he wants you to pressure him, because once you've closed that distance, you've just given him the fight that he wants. And, the tighter the pocket becomes, the more dangerous JDM becomes. I mean, you smother Leon Scott, he freezes. You smother Jack Della Maddalena, and you might just catch a hook, an elbow, or even a knee to the dome piece. On the other hand, when you talk about Belal Muhammad striking, for all the talk of having Canelo hands or whatnot, Belal Muhammad's boxing works solely because of his pace as well as his takedown threat, not because of his variety on the feet. It really just comes down to volume over power. I mean, his entire shtick is that he jabs, pushes forward, and then shoots. I personally believe that his striking is fundamentally one-dimensional, and against a guy like Jack Della Maddalena, I believe that will become a major problem moving forward. Because you see, Jack Della will see those entries. I mean, he will time those counters effectively, and he will punish Bully B's predictable footwork. And now, taking that into account, Belal Muhammad doesn't even have the reactive head movement or defensive layers necessarily needed to stand in front of someone like Jack Della Maddalena for long periods of time. But then again, let's be real right now, because Jack Della Maddalena will not suddenly become a better grappler than Belal Muhammad just because of the extra time off or anything. But then again, I don't actually think he's trying to be. What Jack Della Maddalena right now is doing is leveling up in one area that could lose him this fight, and that's his takedown defense as well as his submission awareness. And I believe that, his recent moves, like training with somebody like Craig Jones, one of the most elite BJJ minds in the game today, doesn't just add polish to Jack's game, but it also builds confidence as well. I mean, I know y'all saw that viral clip of Jack Della Maddalena putting Craig Jones to sleep with a darce choke, right? And yeah, I know it isn't proof that, he'll go into UFC 315 being a better grappler than Belal Muhammad or anything, but it is proof that he's working with the best of the best, getting sharp in the right places and building that mindset that says that even if I do get taken down, I can fight back and I can survive. And, I can maybe reverse or maybe even scramble and punish you for even trying to go down a route like that. Because me and you both know, and yes, I'm talking to you, the viewer, you and I both know, as well as Jack Della Maddalena himself knows, that he's not stopping every single takedown from Belal Muhammad. But then again, he doesn't need to, because if he can make Belal Muhammad work for every single takedown attempt, if he can make Belal Muhammad second guess that shot, then that might be all the space that he needs in order to do what he does best. But with that being said, make no mistake, because I 100% believe that this is going to be an extremely difficult fight. I mean, Belal Muhammad is, in a way, when you think about it, a master of momentum. He builds pressure slowly and drowns his opponents who can't swim, i.e. a Leon Edwards. But Jack Della Maddalena, on the other hand, isn't a fighter who's just looking to survive rounds. He will be looking to break your rhythm and take your soul, Robbie Lawler style. And I believe that that's the mentality as well as the mindset that makes this fight so freaking intriguing, because again, this isn't just going to be a striker versus grappler matchup. It's going to be initiative versus control, chaos versus order, a champion trying to solidify his legacy, and a contender who just might be the most dangerous name in the division. And let's just say, by the chance that Jack Della Maddalena is able to pull this off, especially in a finish, then I don't think he just beats Belal, but he essentially revives the entire welterweight division as a whole. I mean, the 170-pound strap will finally move into the hands of, a finisher, a fan-friendly killer, as well as someone who can bring some fresh new matchups, as well as some main event energy to every single welterweight championship bout. And so, in a fight that'll probably start fast-paced, controlled, intense, Jack Della Maddalena will find his moment. And, that's not to say that Belal Muhammad won't get some control time early. I mean, he might even win a round or two. But once Jack Della Maddalena begins to stuff those takedowns, find his range, and land clean, it's only a matter of time before we won't remember his name and Belal Muhammad turns right into Sleeping Beauty. That is why for UFC 315, I will be going with Jack Della Maddalena to knock out Belal Muhammad in either the third or fourth rounds. And, with that, a new welterweight king will be crowned and the division will be reborn. But that's all I've got to say for this video. Let me know in the comment section below what are your guys' thoughts and opinions, as well as picks for UFC 315's main event, Belal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. And who do you have coming out on top? Jack Della or Belal, remember the eyeball? Let me know in the comment section below. But that about wraps up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.